Welcome to the Fish Bowl with everybody. My name is Chief here, and joining me today is Jalen. We're going to be doing a recap series basically here, reviewing the 2024 Louisiana Raging Cajun softball season as we kind of like look back and see what y'all graded them like we've been doing to everybody else on this season. So, this is kind of a way to discover like some people have questions about what standards do each program have and what is their, what they're lacking in or, what they could do better or what y'all feel they graded. Like this is, an open forum. So, I mean, we like to invite everybody to participate in this podcast. We've had two different polls out. So, I think the one on X just expired. Yep, it expired at 5:11 p.m. I apologize on that. Next time I'll be able to do that. But we do have it on Instagram ongoing, basically. So just follow the post here. I think it's a little black, like little notepad looking thing. So y'all can vote on there and, see how you can either, you can give the team a grade of an A all the way down to an F. So I don't think you'll be grading the softball team with a grade of an F. Hopefully you wouldn't. But because based on what they did last year. So anyway, without further ado, let me introduce everybody to my co-host here, Jalen. How you doing today, Jalen?
I am doing well, Chief. Another great day, as I always say, to be a raging Cajun. And hey, talking softball, new face in town. I'm ready to see what's going to happen.
So Jalen, you were over there at the introductory press conference. How was the mood in the room? And you were there. The mood. Kind of describe everybody what like your first hand experience was with that introduction.
Yeah, so I'll tell you this, Chief. Before I even walked in to the elevator to get to the third floor of the baseball park where the introduction was going to be, fans were outside screaming, hollering. They literally were screaming, hollering, saying they love you. We love you, Allison. We love you. We're glad you're going to be the new coach. And then once she got up there to the box, it was packed. You see nothing but everybody in red. It was a great atmosphere. Everybody was happy. I mean, it was just I've never seen something like that before, and I've been to a couple press conferences. Probably the first time with a new coach, but it was a great atmosphere. Everybody was excited, happy. She was excited. Dr. Brian Magger was like, it was just so much joy and so much red in that room. And she just happened to be a Raging Cajun. And everybody in that room and Raging Cajun fans who watched it and saw it are ready to see what she's going to do for the softball program. And I'm excited myself just by being there. So the atmosphere was great, Chief. I'll tell you that.
So yeah, that's one of the things there that you're going to be able to see. As we go along, how well she will do here in Lafayette whenever she takes over the habits era in Lafayette. That's going to be one thing to look forward to as we progress onward into the year of 2025 patiently awaits us in the next couple of months here. So without further ado here, let's talk about these polls here. So I went look at these polls here. So I'm gonna pull up this real quick here so y'all can see everybody yourself here. I have it on my phone right here. I have it pulled up right here. Looks like on Twitter
I'm
y'all
interested to
have.
see these grades, Chief. I'm
So
interested.
I'm gonna see if y'all can see this here. I could have put like a screen recording, but I'm not really good at numbers, so y'all can see that 41 votes here. Let me see. Hold on. Let's get this right. Let me see. Actually, that's kind of blurry. Yeah, y'all can't read that. Okay, so A 27%, B 63%, C is at 7%, DRNF is at 2%. If you don't believe me, go look at our Twitter page and make sure you follow us when you get over there. So at Fishbowl Nation on Twitter or X or I keep calling it Twitter. It will always be Twitter in my book. I do miss Twitter's little egg thing whenever you first make an account. I thought that was a cool, unique idea. Whenever you make a new profile, you have a little egg as your um, profile pic when you come out, compared to like just a default like letter or whatever. But anyway, so on Instagram, we also have the other poll showing up here that we also, or we're actually live on Instagram right now. Thank y'all for tuning in to our live stream on Instagram as well. So far, we've had a couple of people vote, and no one voted a D or an F on that one. A or B all around 43%. Now we do have, some of these numbers are kind of misleading. Like someone voted DRF 2% on the X poll, but that's just some people just don't like UL just in general, and they're LSU fans or LSU or UL fans not liking LSU when we vote. So some people are just kind of trolling out there and stuff. It's the internet; people are going to troll no matter what. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of what we got going on here today. So Jalen, looking at it here, and we got to talk about it. I think it's going to be something to kind of show here with college football 25. And does it impact anything going forward for the college football landscape overall?
I think it does because one, I mean, it's the hottest topic right now, Chief. I mean, even we've been talking about it off camera. It's the hottest thing going right now. I think. And did you see that Our Lady of Lord Stadium? I know we kind of posted about it. Did you really just take a look at it?
Yeah, so there's a couple of like concept things in case you haven't been paying attention to it too much here. Um, they placed the logo on wrong. If you look at the 50-yard line, based on what the screen grabs and introductory videos, maybe they shot the thing in a reverse mirror to show it kind of a mirror video kind of way. Because we both worked in video production, Jalen. We know how this works, but they put the logo facing the visitor side whenever it's supposed to be facing the home side. Unless that's a new in the blueprint, they got it wrong, and it's supposed to be that way for the upcoming thing. I don't know what was submitted, but Our Lady of Lords is in the blueprint. Basically, have made the game. So that was the conceptual renderings that we saw whenever they released this new stadium for the Cajuns here, like the renovated stadium, to say the least. So that's something that we have to look forward to. It's the graphics look great. It looks like it's good gameplay so far. I saw that one of the servers went down for it, so which is you had a game waiting in the wings for like 10 years that you could have possibly had, you know. So it would have been something really cool to show here for the Cajuns, like
Yeah.
that kind of thing. LSU has their entrance as well with Mike the Tiger, and LSU when they make an interception or anything like that, they throw up an L. They literally do the L sign. And I saw somebody on Twitter or X that was like, "Man, I'm breaking my TV if I throw a game-ending interception. They throw up the L."
I would be upset too. I really would. Nah,
I
like, I'm
mean,
not
like
gonna break my
you
TV.
throwing up the L, bro. Like you lost. Like you're a loser, bro.
Oh no, see, I would be upset. I'm not gonna break my TV over it, but I would be highly upset if they threw the
I
L.
mean, like, okay, if you lose a natty for it, you might be pretty upset,
Okay,
honestly.
okay,
If
okay.
they throw,
Honestly, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
especially if you're in an online dynasty and your friend has LSU or somebody and they're playing as them. Which, by the way, Jalen, we got to get our G5 dynasty going here. We got to build our some 1-star programs. We cannot pick anybody from Louisiana. That is one of the stipulations in our online dynasty.
Hey, that's fine. I need to do my research on what teams I want to get, but I'm here for it. But Chief, to answer your question too, I mean, it really benefits G5 schools because it goes to show you that you can build up schools that are like a UL or like a JMU, like G5 schools. You can build them up on this game and show that hey, we could take this 1-star recruit and he could help us win a national championship. So it kind of goes to show you that not only you can do this in the game, but hey, you recruits out there, you can do this in real life.
So, what I'm thinking is going to happen in the course of the next coming years or whatever. Remember the NCAA basketball games we used to have back in the day,
Oh
back in
yeah.
2010, 2011. I
Mm-hmm.
would. I think 2010 was the last game they had. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, y'all can go chat on the chat box. We have a chat going on right now if y'all want to, chat about it or whatever. But let's see here. I'll throw up the overlay here so you can see new comments here if you want to go up on there. But anyway, so back to what we were talking about here. I think they're gonna have this game come out. I think there's gonna be, you know, a good a good game basically come out from it. They're gonna probably come out with a basketball game. I would assume a college basketball game since the college football game was getting released deluxe today. I pre-ordered it. I got the standard edition because I'm a firm believer in not paying $100 for video games.
As you
Um,
should.
so like $70, I was like, oof. I mean, that's still kind of a good penny. Like, I mean, I will play the game. I mean, regardless. But like, look, $70, and that had been out in 10 years. I grew up playing this game. My first NCAA football game that I played was NCAA football 2004 that had Carson Palmer from USC on the cover.
Oh, that's a
That,
throwback. That is a
yeah,
major
that
throwback.
I was like 9 or 10 when I got it. I think my parents paid 30 or 40 bucks for it. I think that's what the price was for it, brand new. Uh, and then they had Larry Fitzgerald from Pitt the next year after with the stadium pulse and the camera would shake and stuff like that. So a lot of these features in this game that they came out with this year bring me back to kind of those days a little bit because it's the same things, just updated graphics. There's nothing really different. They had the intro stuff, but it wasn't as like dynamic. Everybody's acting like this stuff is brand new. This is kind of stuff they've already done over the last several years of this game. They've had it go on for a while. So, like, it isn't anything revolutionary about the sport or this game in general that we've discussed here. You know, they've had Road to Glory before, Campus Legend, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it might just be a new name, but a new take on it. So, the only reason it got stopped the first time was they wasn't paying no players back then. So, but and they wanted their fair share of money, which was fair. I mean, I don't blame them for making a collective image and likeness. You know, hey, they trying to profit off their name, so I can't blame them for doing that there. So, but you know, you got to make a little bit of money if you appear in the game. $600, I'll take that in a heartbeat. And it's cool. It gets my name out there, you know, publicity wise. Because if I play well during the season, guess what happens? In Madden, I don't know if they use this here for College Football 25, where they update your overall rankings and stuff like that, your overall stats and stuff as the season goes along. If you're showing out and stuff, you become like the Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year or something. Your stats are going to show that, and the marketability of these student athletes across all these schools here, that's going to go up, and it's going to drive their NIL value. So if you didn't opt in for over $600, you not doing yourself any favors, is what I'm going to say. What do you think, Jalen?
Oh no, I agree with that, and that's crazy because especially NIL, how big it's gotten within the last year or so, especially with because I'm pretty sure, and you correct me if I'm wrong too, Chief, but these players and these schools have to opt in to be part of the game. So the fact that they do that, and the fact that, like you said, this can help them with NIL too, going into okay, I want to play as this player. Let's see, his overall is I don't want to throw numbers out there, but his overall is this. He went Sun Belt. Uh, Conference Player of the Year. Next thing you know, these big time schools, SEC, Big 12, these schools they want this player, and then that's gonna make his stock rise up higher. So I mean, I think overall it helps the player, NIL, and it helps the teams.
Yeah, that's the thing. So you're going to have all these players like to showcase their ability, right? You talked about like the overall and how they can improve here. It's like you know how they went through training and they went up like +5, +4 in the older games. That's basically what's going to happen here, but it's going to be in season. I think that would be the good way for them to do about it here. There was a lot of like you know they're just trying to build up these programs here. We'll have to do a Power Five one too. I don't know how the online dynasty thing is not cross platform, which I think they might even update it. Maybe they might come up an update to where they make it that way. But I'm okay with just settling for this straight platform. Let them get it all meshed together and figure out what's actually in this game here as we go along with this here. So it's going to introduce whole new set of fans. We've had people that's not even been born yet. That's going to be 10 years old, like I was back in 2003 and 2004, that are going to be in this for the first time. This is going to be their first time playing this kind of game. They have no idea what to expect from it. So what I'm probably gonna do is when I first get the game, I'll probably play an offline game so I can understand how the mechanics are gonna be because the gaming engine that it's gonna use is gonna be probably different. And you know, that's kind of thing that we're gonna have to expect going forward for sure with this new game because there's gonna be bugs in it. It's gonna happen. There's gonna be something weird with it that I remember one on NCAA Football '07 when they had Reggie Bush on the cover of PS2. I think they had somebody else. Is that right, Jalen? Did they have somebody else on the cover too?
Yeah, but I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm trying to remember who else was on the cover, but I know what you're talking
Because
about.
they had like two or three different covers, I think, for it. I had a PS2
Yeah,
at the time when I bought it, so that's which I still play it to this day. Like I love that game. I love the impact player kind of thing on it. But one of the bugs in that game, for example, was randomly this would happen. Like there's nothing that triggered it or anything, but I don't know how the bug would be that your roster, like let's say if you had a team, you created a team or whatever, and they were 99 overall all across the board. Like during the game, at times they randomly just drop, not because they were playing good or playing bad. They just dropped to like 50 overall, like half your roster 50 overall, which wouldn't hurt you if you had an all every time the team with 99 overall, but it, like whenever you're playing as like a UL and you're trying to build it up, it's really hard because these guys are slow, like they don't move, so it's gonna be tough. And that's what you're gonna have to want to challenge yourself here. So that's one thing that I'm kind of looking forward to building up my own program here. I think I'm probably gonna go with Eastern Michigan Eagles because I like the color green. That's my only reason why. And they're in the MAC, so MAC isn't really a tough conference to build out of. So less competition. I am in Michigan, which would be a really kind of rougher area to recruit because I got the Michigan Wolverines in my backyard. And not only that, Western Michigan, Ohio State's right there too, and like right below Michigan and Ohio Bobcats too. So that rebuild is gonna be an interesting one. They all like Western Michigan. You got Michigan State in there as well. So there's a lot of teams in that state. So I'm gonna have to knock down Michigan State for sure to climb up on that ladder. You give any ideas who you want to play as Jalen besides any team in Louisiana for online dynasty?
Oh, Chief, you didn't thought this completely out. I'm sitting there like, oh my God, like he has it ready, bro. But I know I kind of, so I haven't really looked at outside teams other than the Sun Belt so far. But so far right now, I want to say I kind of want to play as JMU just because they made that switch from FCS to FBS, and the fact that they couldn't compete last year for championships because of that transition over. I'm like, okay, I can get with them on the game and let's go win a natty. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I don't want to beat the Raging Cajuns to have to do it. So I still have to do some more research, look at some more teams. But that's the Eastern Michigan. I like that pick. You didn't thought that one out.
So there's also another one that I thought about as well. Sam Houston
Okay.
State out of Texas. You get the big prime recruiting grounds in Texas, but you got to deal with Texas State. You got to deal with SMU. You got to deal with Texas A&M, Texas Tech. You got to deal with all them other schools in there. So that one I'm kind of not leaning towards as much here. Um, that'd be kind of a tough one to do. I mean, if I was gonna try to go in the state of, hmm, and it's kind of a tough one there. I wouldn't mind doing FIU either. I think FIU would be a pretty good one as well to kind of start as well. You got the
I
prime
was,
recruiting
no, that's a
Florida.
good. You know what? Because you go in Florida, you could recruit Texas, Louisiana. You could probably get Georgia. Like you can do some recruiting.
Yeah, I'm not really sold on Eastern Michigan, but I do like the challenge up there. It might be a bad one to start with, but also another one, San Jose State in California. But they have a lot of teams in California: USC, UCLA, Cal, Stanford.
It's so many
Uh,
teams.
yeah, so it's tough. Regardless, it's gonna be tough out no matter where you at the rebuild. So, but I'm excited about the game. It's gonna be a very big platform for these student athletes and NIL players to make their dent and showcase their abilities in all of college football. So this is going to be one of those that it's going to be very interesting to see what's going on here. So as we kick things a little bit further here into the Fishbowl Radio page here, I'm going to share this stream real quick since we're live on YouTube and Instagram. Thank everybody for tuning in here to the Fishbowl Radio here. Let me share this real quick here, Jalen. So while I'm doing this, Jalen, let's go back to softball here real quick here. We
Okay.
had a very good season here. So, what grade would you give the softball team this year if you were, you know, grading them?
Yeah, so I would give the softball team a B. I think I agree with the fans on X and agree with them on Instagram. I think a B is the right grade just because, yes, they had a successful season. They beat teams like Oklahoma, they beat teams like Texas. It's like they had great quality wins, one of the best seasons they've had in years, and they got to host a regional. But I think that them not winning the regional at home just that's my grade to give them a B. But if they, but I mean, it's and I got to give them credit too. They made it to the Sun Belt Conference Tournament Championship game, even though they ended up losing to Texas State. But I think I'm gonna give them a B. Just because that losing that Lafayette regional kind of stung a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you, Chief. So I'm gonna give them a B. I agree with the
You know
fans.
what? I'm gonna give him a B too because preseason prediction was I had them going to OKC. I think A if you get an A if you get the OKC regional regionals for softball are starting to feel like C grades to me because that's expected of this program. Like if you go look at the wall at Lamson Park, if you didn't make a regional, it's a failure of a season. Complete failure. That would be like DF territory if you didn't make a regional. Which comparing to the other programs at UL, that would be kind of, you know, like, oh man, that's kind of rough. But softball is probably the best program that we have at as Raging Cajun Athletics. Like overall, as like statistically speaking, even better than baseball. And I know
Yeah,
that some baseball purists are going to be like, Chief, you're missing the boat. But how many times? Okay, like we compare both the programs. Baseball's only made it to Omaha one time, whereas we've had multiple appearances in softball. Most recent one coming in 2014. So that program got built up over time, and it's still a very strong program. It's definitely a top 25 program in the state. I mean, not in the state, in the country. I mean, excuse me, but in the country for sure. So that is something that I think that it's almost like sea ground now. But I'm gonna give it a B for this year. I would it'd be an argument though to be made. It's definitely an argument you could definitely make, and it's expected. It's an average year because we average getting to the regionals every single year. So that would be how I'm grading this. Now, if we're going to compare it to a program like Oklahoma, where they've won national championship after national championship for consecutive years, yeah, I think you will still have to grade them an A because winning a national championship is definitely the ultimate goal. It's harder to plateau a program as winning a national championship. It's hard. It's the hardest thing in the world to stay on top in anything. All great dynasties come to an end, and it's so hard to keep repeating and repeating, especially in this NIL world. No matter if you like, and that's why like, it's kind of dumb that people say that you bought players to be here. Do you imagine how many other programs they have in the country for them throwing money at these people? It's not buying players; it's still recruiting because you're still got to make the investments and the money be known that you're buying. You're basically getting recruiting this player to come over here, showing him all the accolades you got. So buying players isn't really the big of a dig as you possibly might think it might be. So I mean that's just one thing there. So if you look at it from that point of view, that's just it. It's still recruiting. You still got to outbid people. You still got to get the job done. I mean, you never should stop recruiting in this day and age. And that's one thing that these coaches here are going to have to do because it's going to be tough to just keep staying at the top because more and more uh, Power Five programs are investing in their softball. And Gary Glasgow, he had said this in one of the board meetings and stuff that they were going to have to contribute more NIL money to stay in the top 25. Now, with the recent success of like women's basketball has definitely taken on a whole different. I'm gonna use that as an example here. There's more like women's sports has grown exponentially over the last 5 years, just across the board. So I get what he's saying. Softball might be the next hot thing because Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, the media has blown them up into firestorm, surefire stars, and they really changed the dynamic for WNBA. Love them or hate them, they've definitely made their impact regardless. So I think that's something that we're going to look forward to over the course of the next couple of years, seeing how women's sports grows exponentially throughout the next couple of years. So that's one thing that we're going to look at and see where that takes college athletics because it's going to be an interesting one. Jalen, what you think about you know women's athletics? The softball. You see that sport blowing up like WNBA?
No, I definitely see it blowing up at WNBA, and because WNBA is blowing up because they more and more great players are getting to be a part of this league, and and then the media. That's when we're both professionals when it comes to media, but when it comes to TV time and revenue and everything, it's just popping right now because everybody loves. I know I love it. I love watching WNBA and seeing these great players like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark go out there and do their thing. Now, can softball be that same way? Oh, absolutely. Like softball is one of those sports to where you have to go out there, you have to grind. It's like it takes a lot of hard work. I mean, it's not easy to go out there and pitch a softball. It's not easy to hit a ball. So, I think softball, you give it some time, it can be right up there with women's basketball as far as WNBA and everything. Because they have some great players that play softball. They have great players on the Louisiana Raging Cajuns team. So I think years to come, softball will get talked about more, and it'll be bigger than what it is now. Just it could be just as big as baseball.
Yeah, very well could be. That's the thing here. So that's something we're gonna have to look at here and just see um what we got going on here. So just looking at it here and just seeing what's going on. So that's one thing that we're going to look at here. So if you're just joining us now on Instagram, the majority, the polls have been voted here. Raging Cajun Softball earned a B grade amongst your polls on X and Instagram. Thank y'all for all tuning in here to the Fishbowl Radio. My name is Chief here, and joining me today is Jalen. We've had a big discussion here off of the new college football game as well. We're going to get back into that real quick here. If y'all like it, go on our Facebook page, the Fishbowl Sports Radio. We're also on Twitter at Fishbowl Nation, and you can follow us on YouTube as well, the Fishbowl Sports Radio, or the Fishbowl Radio, I think. Excuse me, let me make sure I got the name right. At Fishbowl Nation. Basically, yeah, that's basically our name. So, Jalen, let's talk about Rage Caden softball here. You were at the introductory press conference. What do you think about the mood of the room whenever they released, Allison Habits was going to be the new Raging Cajun head softball coach? What you think about them, introducing her, and tell me the vibe of the room, basically. What you thinking, Jalen?
Everything was great. The vibes were awesome. Everybody was happy to not only see her, but thank her for coming back to Cajun Nation. Thanking her for taking over the softball program from a coach that everybody loved in Jerry Glasgow. But I think everybody, mostly everybody there, was wearing red, representing the Cajuns. And the atmosphere as soon as you walk in was like it was a sight to see, Chief. I'll tell you that much. And everybody loved Allison. They were happy when she got up there in her introductory speech, and she said she's here to win. She wants to win, and everybody was backing her. Everybody was behind her. Cajun Nation got a great coach, and I'm happy for it. And everything was great.
Yeah. So, uh, I love Dr. Maggart's story about you, how he recruited her to come back home, basically. Because one thing was her was all about family, and this is what's gonna help out the Cajun softball program, basically, because the connection that they have with the community, they have a very good, unique connection. They have a solid, fan base, and I think that that is one way to look at it here. They're going to be able to pull in from, like, you had DJ Sanders play in the mid 2010s for the Cajuns. Summer Ellison's out there too. You might get some of these players that have played before to come back and be coaches and want to do that kind of thing. Uh, if that is in their career interest, for sure. So, and with all the success they had during that time here, so as far as the B grade goes, it's almost like being in the C territory almost, because now I'm gonna give them a B. I'm gonna give them a B for the past year because I'm not faulting the current squad for doing what they did. But as far as standards of a program go, if you look at the wall at Lamson Park, you see the regionals like Lafayette Regional or just going to a regional period. It's consistent. It almost literally the last time the Cajuns did not go to a regional was 2020. Okay, and before that, uh, it was a long time, right? It's just a line. It's like two lines going across the whole thing, like NCAA regional, which is basically equivalent to making March Madness. Or it basically equivalent to baseball would be the regional setup, like the same way they have there. So, with that being said, though, I'm gonna give them a B because I think as far as it like nationwide known, not someone that really follows the program closely. If you're looking at like just looking at the NCAA brackets and you don't really pay much attention to softball, you probably would give the season a B because you think UL is kind of like a low bottom pole uh Sunbelt team that you think you use your football G5, which doesn't exist in softball technically, but you use them as a lower platform and you'll probably evaluate them on that. So you probably don't really know too much about it if you're just a casual, like you live in New York or you don't really pay attention to it too much. So that's where they would probably rank it a B. So I would probably go with the casual fan mindset and rank them a B. But as far as someone who follows the sport and follows it, it feels like a C grade, honestly, if I was going to use my um, analysis in my head and how it would work here. So, which isn't a knock on them. I'm not knocking them at all. It's just based on what they have done over the last several years, basically. So, very good sustained success. But like, if you bring up a team up like Oklahoma, who's winning national championships every single year in softball, they would almost be like a C2 because that's just keeping, you're not growing. You're kind of just staying still, honestly, just being a C grade, right? You're just plateauing because you can't go higher because you've already made it to the top. And it's the hardest thing to stay at the top. So the Cajuns, to get them to an A grade, they would have to go to OKC, I think, to get to an A grade, which they could very well do it next year. Like this team's always a threat, no matter what year we're in, to make it to Oklahoma City and compete for national championships. It just takes two or three dynamic players on your team because softball, you just have to get hot at the right time to be able to uh, make it to a deep run to OKC. But like I said, I'm great. I'll grant them a B. I think the majority of the fans give them a B. So I think that's kind of the way that it should be ranked as. So let's switch gears here and talk about NCAA college football. Not NCAA, excuse me, EA Sports College Football 25. I'm living back in the 2000s, in the 1990s, and 2010s, whenever they had EA Sports was making the NCAA was making it here. So NIL, what you think about it, Jalen? About college football 25? It's back, man. It's the deluxe edition launched today. What you think about it, Jalen?
Yeah,
Like, how you think it's
it's
going to be for like growing the sport of college football to a younger fan base here that never had experience like this before?
it's back. I'm happy to see it. I can't wait until I get the game because I'm going to play it. I think overall it's going to help not only those student athletes as far as NIL and everything that we've been talking about, but I'm glad you brought up just those young kids who never had the opportunity to play something like this. And it's something different. It's something a lot of them have never seen. And I think they're going to enjoy it. And I think I think Online Dynasty is especially one of the modes to where you can play with a group of friends and, have some fun with it. So I'm glad that it's back. I hope they keep going with it, and I just think that I do say this. I think on that first play though, I am going to run the ball just in case because I don't want to throw a pick. So I don't know about you, Chief.
Well, I could tell you my first play is going to be a kneel down. I'm a kneel on my first play to salute EA Sports, NCAA football, college NCAA college football 14 for carrying us the last 10 years and all the other games that came before it because you got to respect them, man. They've been around. They hung up. And, salute all the PS3s, Xbox 360s because they were holding down the fort for all those years because PS4 didn't have it, Xbox One didn't have it. Up until now, PS5 and all the other ones didn't have it either. The Wii U didn't have it. So, look, I'm just saying they didn't do the job. They didn't hold us off for 10 years. So, but yeah, like so, Jalen, for our online dynasty, we're only going to do G5 schools, and they can now be from the state of Louisiana. So I've thought this out a little bit. I think I'm gonna start with either Eastern Michigan, FIU, or Sam Houston State whenever, because I pre-ordered the standard edition, which I will download Thursday night at 11 p.m. I'm gonna get out of bed and just like turn my PS5 on rest mode and have that thing download while I go to work. Be ready to go. Then I'm gonna do my deal down the first play because hey, I can't throw a pick. I might fumble the ball, might fumble the snap. I don't know what's
Seriously.
which is always a possibility. But yeah, like looking at the gameplay and how they kind of implemented the blueprints and stuff of the game. The one thing they got wrong with uh Our Lady of Lourdes Stadium was the logo's facing the wrong way. Now they have it facing the visitor side where the student section is. It should be facing the home side where they having like the upper deck and stuff was at. So they did kind of flip it in a different direction. So it's interesting though. So yeah, that's kind of the one thing that that's my only gripe about it. They nailed everything honestly. Uh we'll have to go talk more about that later on. But look, I mean, it is what it is. It's very fun. It should be a lot of fun for these younger fans for sure. So, anything you want to say, gentlemen, before we get off the air here?
I just want to say I can't wait to play the game. I'm gonna say Louisiana softball is gonna have a great year. And again, I'm not passing on that first play of the game. Letting you know that right now. It's not gonna be a pass.
All right, I'll do my kneel down. Thank y'all for tuning in here to the Fishbowl Radio. Make sure y'all follow us on X at Fishbowl Nation, Instagram, the Fishbowl Sports Radio, Facebook, the Fishbowl Sports Radio as well. On YouTube, you can just do at Fishbowl Nation. You should find us there. And we have, many different videos and stuff here. So thank y'all for tuning in. I hope you have a great and wonderful day. We're going to see you here next time here on the Fishbowl Radio. Have a good night, Fishbowl Nation.